Hello. On today's episode of Kill Team Shower Thoughts, I want to say if Eldar dominate after the balanced data slate, then that's fine. So what's all this about Eldar dominating? Eldar might be really good now. Lots of the other talking heads on the internet, the people that actually play lots of Kill Team and do well and score highly in tournaments and gain loads of ITC points, seem to think that we're about to enter the age of the Eldar. Now, I'm going to say I am starting to really dislike it when people talk about elite teams because it's not clear to me whether they're talking about Space Marines or Eldar or both. Okay, we're going to be entering a different kind of elite meta, an Eldar elite meta, and a lot of the gut reactions to the Balanced Data Slate are people saying, oh, well, you know, we just traded one lame state of affairs for another lame state of affairs. I don't think an Eldar-dominated meta, if that's what emerges, will be anywhere near as bad or toxic as a Space Marine-dominated meta. A hypothetical meta with all the Eldar teams in S tier, if that is indeed what emerges, is a better meta than the one with all Marine teams in S tier. And this is not because I play Eldar teams, okay? I want you to imagine a scenario. Jimmy buys a copy of Hivestorm for his birthday, right? He goes to his friend Timmy and says, hey, Kill Team, this looks really fun, right? Will you play with me, Tim? Will you learn the game with me? Will you be my first opponent? And Timmy goes, yeah, all right, that sounds quite interesting. I'll pull a Kill Team from my Chaos Space Marine army. Popular faction. Might even have the Kill Team miniatures because they gave all the Legionaries rules for 40k, made them really key and important. Jimmy, right, in the pre-balanced data slate days, loses. Whichever of those teams from Hivestorm he decides to paint up, he just loses. If you have two equally low-skilled noobs playing their first game, right, and one of them's playing Marines, and one of them's playing anything that's not Marines, pre-balanced data slate anyway, the Marines just win. And then what's going to happen there is young Timmy is going to be like, well, this sucks. I'm going back to 40k, right? And Jimmy, if he's got any kind of soul, will go, oh, I don't like crushing my friend and making him cry. This sucks. I'm going back to 40k. Now, if Timmy's an Eldar player, there's not so much of a problem. Why is there not so much of a problem? Well, we have to look at a really complicated 4-quadrant graph. So, I've done this before on the channel, and there's loads more teams now. Now, this is not an exact science, because lots of things logically want to be on the same point, so you've got a double thick line in the middle of 10-man teams and other assorted problems. But essentially, it's a way of thinking about teams where the stats-based teams, right, the GDI of Kill Team, if you will, the teams that are good because the numbers on their card are big, or they've got some relatively simple and easily understood ploys or special rules that just make them better and that are hard for a new player to mess up. Those teams are at the top. And the teams that require a more sort of understanding, wisdom, skill at games in general, right, to pilot well and take to victory, they're at the bottom, okay? To the left of the graphic, you've got people with loads of models in their team, and to the right of the graphic, you've got teams with relatively few models in their team, concentrating their stats even higher, right? So, for example, Kazakin in the middle, 10-model team, quite near the stats ceiling, because insofar as they do anything, what they do is they have a plasma gun, a melter gun, a sniper rifle, a melter mine. Like, it's the numbers. It's the fact that they're bringing all of these special weapons is what makes them able to do stuff. Or not, as the case may be. And then over on the, at the bottom there, you've got teams that are quite complicated. Adeptus Mechanicus, Vespid, Novitiates, Breachers. Teams where it's tricky to understand how they're supposed to do stuff, right? This graphic doesn't speak to the power level of the team, right? It's not the case that stuff at the top is strong and stuff at the bottom is weak. That's not what I'm saying here. I'm saying the stuff at the bottom is the kind of, the nod of the situation. I don't know who's going to get the Command and Conquer analogy, but just in case. They're the ones that have, they're weaker on the face of it, right? But if you understand the team, you can potentially get to great success with them. But there are traps, there are pitfalls, there's wrong roster options that you could pick. There's tac ops that are hard to understand. There's special rules that you have to remember to trigger and bring in. Now, really, all I'm really trying to say in this video, it's quite a simple point. When the stuff in the top right of my graphic is overpowered, that's really, really, really poor for the game. Because you take your Space Marines, right, you go to a tournament and you trundle a pile of noobs. Even if you yourself are a relative noob, you trundle a pile of noobs, right? Because they're easy to play. Even when they're not overpowered, they require less skill to pilot to their optimum level. They have a lower skill ceiling, right? The teams at the bottom, the Eldar, they might become those powerful teams, but it's only going to affect the upper middle and the top tables, because that's where the players are found that are going to be able to squeeze that out of those Eldar teams. They are harder to use because they have lower numbers, they have fewer wounds, there's not that many of them. It's not clear how you stop yourself from getting murdered. You have to be able to pilot them really capably. So they're not going to take the new player experience in the same way. You're not going to get the thing of going, oh, well, I've got Aquilons and I'm going into my buddy's, Blades of Cain, and I can't possibly win, because probably, unless your buddy has been playing Kill Team for like 2-3 years, he's not going to pilot those Blades of Cain to their optimum performance, because there's loads of, there's loads of roster building, there's loads of stuff. There's loads of stuff you have to learn, you have to think about, you have to do. Whereas if you're playing, Angels of Death or Plague Marines, if they're too powerful, you just take them and rack them and go, well, this is the thing, and I'm just doing the thing, and I'm just reading off the card, and I've won. Whoops. Right, so it's not about not having an S tier. It's inevitable that there will be some S tier teams, some teams that are best, but actually, having Eldar on the S tier is one of the best possible outcomes. Because that means that it's only those teams that are up there being, it will affect the games where it's, can you roll a crit facing off against turning point tactics? It will, the people at the top of Everest breathe in the rarefied air. Yes, the meta will then affect them. But actually, the mid-tables will be perfectly reasonably insulated from it. If the teams that have the highest theoretical skill ceiling are also really difficult to get there, that is a better outcome. So I guess I'm telling people not to get too kind of aggy and disheartened about the balanced data slate just creating a new problem. No, the Kill Team developers have not attained perfect balance, and as everybody has said, once Marines are decapitated, and it remains to be seen just how decapitated they've actually been, but once Marines are decapitated, the Eldar will just rise to the top and be really problematic, and actually, they won't be, because how you win with Eldar is not going to be obvious to just about everybody, whereas how you win with Legionaries was obvious to anybody that can read. That's my 2 cents, essentially. So to wrap up, first of all, there's 2 questions here. I've gone out on a limb and I'm hypothesizing about a hypothetical, this Eldar meta. The Eldar meta may not even happen. I'd love to hear your take in the comments. Are we going to get an Eldar meta at all? Is it true, or do you think something else is going to rise to the top? Maybe you think Marines have still not been nerfed. Like, personally, I think they have. Your Legionaries, your Warp Coven, just not getting to ignore piercing right, is going to make them fall down a fair bit. Not able to do the weird shenanigans with going on guard is going to help. But the main thing is the piercing's gone, and there's a couple of other things that have just been turned off, right? So I think we'll get that Eldar meta, potentially, but it could be, we could get something totally different. We could be about to enter the Exaction Squad meta. Like, I don't actually know. Irrespective of if it happens, do you agree with my argument here that if some teams have to be S tier, it's better for those teams that require a large amount of skill to get the best out of to be S tier? Because at least then that affects a smaller number of games of Kill Team. Because you have, well, yes, these are broken if you know how to use them, but there's only about 50 people in the world that know how to use them really well, so yes, it's going to affect tournament data. You know, it's going to affect your World Championships. It's going to affect your LVOs, but it's not going to affect most of your lives playing Kill Team. Unlike, arguably, Marines being really broken did. Is that accurate? I don't know. Short one today, guys. I'm feeling, probably here, I'm feeling a bit under the weather. I'm getting the school cold. Okay. Hope to keep outputting videos for you. Gonna be live streaming on Tuesday. Hopefully a video out on Monday. No idea at the moment what that's going to be about. It's probably going to be another fairly quick one. But yeah, do subscribe, comment, like, etc., and consider joining the Discord. It's a really great community. I'm really, we're a small community, but I'm really blessed to have the community that I do. I love everybody on the Discord. You're all absolutely bro tier, so that's fantastic. And I'd like to thank especially, if the people on the Discord are bro tier, the people who actually joined the channel membership program are really quite elite tier, because you get an extra room on the Discord, you get a coloured name, you get to watch the live stream VODs, which is the biggest perk really. And if you are interested in potentially becoming a channel member, just click the membership button, and there's a whole extra secret video that will take you through what you get or don't get. I want to say especially thank you to Nightfall and Sam Froth, who are both subscribed at the highest tier and get a shout out at the end of every single video. Alright guys, thanks for your time, and I will see you again, hopefully tomorrow, with, something else. Cheery, bye.